3, 2, 1.
I'd like to introduce Alex Melamid, who's the founder of Artenol Magazine and an artist, here directly for the first time in his entire life near a boxing ring.
I'm not sure what Artenol is about. But since the name of the magazine contains the word art, it has to be about art. That it rhymes with Tylenol is purely coincidental. On the other hand, art, as we know, can be a balm for our wounds, especially if they're the result of fights for the sake of art. And fighting and boxing have noble pedigree in American letters. Think of Norman Mailer. To a lesser degree, it also has a presence in the visual arts. One manifestation of this artistic fisticuffs can be found in those photos of Andy Warhol and Jean-Michel Basquiat in boxing gloves, faking a fight almost a quarter of a century ago. But Warhol and his followers were phonies when it came to really throwing punches. I gather that none of the participants of our debate, Alva Noe, philosopher, Jeffrey Gibson, an artist, and Moriah Evans, a choreographer, would agree with what I've just said. But keep in mind that we are all together as players in our docile, sycophantic culture, in where its beneficiaries and their victims. Thank you.
And so the debate starts with Alva's question, why do we see so little? Alva?
Why do you see so little? Why do we see so little when there is so much to see? And my first thought when he said that was, well, he didn't understand the problem. He's an idiot. And I should add that the man I'm talking about, Hans, was my father. And so I found it at that young age, I found it very comfortable to think that my father was an idiot.
Cat sees even more than a human.
You want to talk in the mic?
Yeah. Cat sees more than a human, okay? So why cat doesn't make art? From my point, art is a totally shameful, idiotic enterprise, which is imposed on you by the religious authorities of our culture. And that, I think, if you want, of course, the dirty some surface, you can do it. But to create an institution which supports and pays for dirty surfaces is a totally ridiculous thing. Because art claims something religious. You have to believe in that.
You know, in the art world, there's all this talk about proposals of alternative living, or alternative economies, or alternative political structures. And here I was meeting people who were actually doing it. And the irony of that is that it's in the United States. That there are, hundreds of other languages in this country that I would be surprised if anyone in here spoke.
Like what kind of language?
Oh, Choctaw. Does anyone speak Choctaw in here? Cherokee?
How many of you are wandering off right now?
Their attention is captured.
This is really great.
Right.
I think it's all irrelevant. What you're talking is absolutely irrelevant to the I don't know, agenda of this evening. I don't understand what we are talking about here. We are talking about individual experiences of an individual artist. It's all very fine, but can I have a because it's very boring. Very boring. Sorry. How can I? Is it all? The world of art, as it comes now, is a new religion which is absolutely should be demolished because it's absolutely outdated, absolutely obsolete, has no whatsoever relation to reality.
Could I have the microphone 1 second?
Pass the mic.
Sure, yeah.
I think Alex's point about whether cats see beauty, we don't know. We know, as far as we know, they don't make. But there's always been an aesthetic sense, if you go to way back to history, various cultures, jewelry has always been valued. And also the value of the jewelry, of Egyptian jewelry, of ancient Chinese jewelry, of modern jewelry, is something that we share, in my opinion, an innate sense of aesthetics.
I think that, yeah, we're talking about the art world and making it a generalization for all art, and you're speaking to
the number of communities and artists and practices who are excluded from that world, but then we're interrelating those generalizations about art in general and the people that excludes with the art world to clump it all into something to say that it's bullshit, and then that's being manifested in the premise of there being a debate here that's actually just a panel interview about different artists' questions. What is your process of making a dance is not a debate question that everybody can relate to and comment on. And so we're manifesting in here the proposition that art is bullshit, even though it's not. So it's a little bit of self-fulfilling prophecy for Alex, is what I'm understanding the pretext of the situation to be.
I think one of the questions here is, why do we see so little? And if somebody says there is no art now, that is the definition of a person who sees so little.
Thank you, yeah.
When Da Vinci's Adoration of the Magi was commissioned by the
That's a
monastery,
total bullshit.
they said,
What the hell
"We
you're
don't
talking
want it,"
about?
and they stored it for 150 years in the back room where it collected water and mildew.
Art is
It's a classical Anglo-Saxon religion and cultural practice.
Okay. There was a great quote about the poet Federico Garcia Lorca, and he said, for Lorca, New York is a symbol of spiritual myopia. And I think that some of what's being expressed right now is that art maybe is suffering from a kind of myopia, from a kind of narrowness. So the question is art a kind of thing that you have to get, that some people get it and other people don't get it?
I think we're getting mixed up with exclusionary paradigms that are in place to isolate and define sets of ideas. As an artist, I don't feel that someone else is going to define me until they choose to look at my work and try to interpret it.
Meaning is in our head. The point is not what, the point is why we're thinking about in the first place. Whatever our mind goes to look at, so we find the meaning. And we can philosophize about this and think great things. But why the hell we're talking about that? Because we're forced by some, social circumstances to look at certain things. They say, there's a museum of modern art. You have to go there. Why do you have to go there? Because, of course you have to. Because otherwise you're totally excluded from the society. Come on.
You have a certain sense of privilege, and then you feel excluded from your own privilege, which validates your own existence. This is the most fucked up thing that I've ever...
You're totally right. This is the thing that happens among humanity. Dude, you're totally right.
Okay.
Hang on. No, I want to say that you are right. That is the thing that happens in humanity.
Don't tell me that I'm right, because I'm mad, and you don't get to be the calm fucking white man who sits there.
It's self-loathing.
Let's sort of calm down.
Someone have a self-loathing
I
joke?
think we're all getting choreographed by the context here a little bit. I think you should throw on some boxing gloves and really have at it.
James Baldwin said that the aim of art is to uncover the questions that have been occluded by the answers.
James Baldwin also said, I cut myself on the not at all metaphorical teeth of the white world. So shut the fuck up with your bullshit.
Dancers, they have to work the hardest, and they have the least promise of return or reward. They bust up their toes and bust up their bodies, and they do it because they love it so much.
Okay.
Oh, I'm talking about dance! I'm talking about dance!
I feel like you're talking really patronizing to this dude who's actually like kind of interesting, and I don't like.
No!
It's two white guys, excuse me, arguing about privilege. This is
Here, how about this? And then
I
we
don't
can talk.
want your like stupid thrift shop sweater, hipster.
It's interesting to me how few artists are actually wanting the debate form. I will take this position versus that position at this point. There's lots of people here who want to start that, and then you guys speaking about your own practice, which is the only way you can arrive at a general thing, and it, are avoiding the debate form.
A relative of mine, who actually died this morning, had a very, very wonderful collection of art that was very and is very valuable. and someone from a major museum from another country came to his apartment to look at the work. And at one point, stopped, stared at something and said, "This is absolutely fantastic. This is marvelous. What is it?" And the answer was, "This is where we keep the record player." It was a closet.
The example you gave is really a nice one. I mean, I've had the experience of seeing a work of art or seeing a performance, and at first it's like although it's optically present, it's literally indiscernible. It just doesn't touch me or engage me or fascinate me. But through looking or thinking or questioning or interrogating or listening, playing the record again and again, something marvelous sometimes happens, which is all of a sudden, wow, you see something you didn't see before.
I honestly just feel completely disrespected. I don't really feel like I want to continue with that particular line. I mean, I think we've seen very clearly here that everyone has interrupted each other to the point of not being able to develop a productive conversation. And two people here in particular have taken the chance to have a platform to show your totally subjective and unfortunately that I am bored by statement. You check your phone, you go, you'll get you're falling asleep. Brilliant. You know what? That's the worst way to try to have a conversation and develop anything past this point. So I don't exactly know why I was invited here tonight. I'm an artist. We started off the first 20 minutes trying to introduce myself so we could have a productive conversation. It would be great if you could do that in some productive fashion. I feel like if you want to know why I make art, it's because there's some things that can be expressed better than this particular form. Can be expressed better than words. That can be expressed better than this kind of mediated conversation between us and you. The whole agreement is that we all showed up here. I'm sorry, but I drove 4.5 hours to be here tonight. And the whole agreement is that we come here for some idea of productivity. I mean, come on. What a lame response. Seriously.
But did you ask yourself, why was it in a boxing ring while you were driving? Why you were invited to participate in a boxing ring?
What is this like bloodthirst that you've got here? What is the repression deep inside of you that you need to see it enacted in other people? Seriously, come on.
I mean, I think that what we're
You want to be entertained, and if there's anything that people need to understand is there's a very firm line in the difference between art and entertainment. Art and entertainment, wait, let me finish. You can talk in a second. Entertainment is about pleasing the viewer. It's about fulfilling the viewer's need for something that they desire to see. Okay, art is subjective. And if you can't come together with multiple subjectivities and add up to the greater sum of the parts, whatever, go do something else.
Question in the back of the room.
Well, okay, I would like to say, well, generally everyone yelling at each other is not productive, and it might be a way to get some angry vibes out or whatever. But I will say that in the heated moment, it pushed this conversation happening from an academic sense to immediately talking about why you actually think art is important, and really cutting to the core of it. Which I think is what reads better to an audience, because certainly an art philosopher and a well-versed sculptor and a choreographer and someone in the world of sort of academia, it can become very alienating, and it can become sort of it feels very separatist, I think, to a lot of people that might come to these kinds of events. So I just wanted to point out that your aggravation, I think, actually pushed you immediately into a zone that what you were offering seemed to be a lot more genuine and less sort of fabricated in an academic world.